Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Welcome back to Stanley Parable. Let's get this free achievement.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Something secret here. Come on. There's a wire back here. I'm not going anywhere until you give me that achievement. Fine. You're boring. 0 out of 10 game.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
The jump circle!
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Woohoo! Let's go! Nice. Thank you. Oh, collectible. Yes, please. I want a collectible.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your
We're now 6. Let's go. What happened? Did I break the game? Oh.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of
It's
the...
fake. You
Well, we'll
lied
figure
to
that out
me.
later.
How could you? That's all of the things that we've gotten, right? Right. I'll get the bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me.
Give me the bucket!
Actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Okay.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort,
Yes.
even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the
Thank you.
slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Oh,
The
thank
benefits
you.
of the bucket seem to go on and on.
Thank you,
don't they?
bucket.
All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Sounds fun. Let's go, bucket.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
You know what, bucket? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get this achievement. Come on, bucket. You can help me out here, right? Ah, I got luck on my side. Really? Dang it. Fine. Boo. What if I go down in the hole with a bucket? With a bucket. Alright, let's take the bucket. And let's get out of here.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yep. Yep. It's me. I look very nice.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how
Quite
exactly
nice.
these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's
In my
definitely a
soul.
good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is.
Sure.
I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Ooh. Seems fun.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. Hold on.
No,
Let
it's
me do
good.
a different arrangement.
What do you mean?
Okay, yes. Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Whoa.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. and I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it, no matter how good these gags are. They won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait.
Yes.
Maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course.
Yes.
With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly...
Look at me down there.
I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
What? Ooh. Stanley Parable 2, hey? Interesting. Let's begin the game. We're gonna watch the
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
427.
Employee number 427's job was
427's job
He
was
sat at
simple.
his desk in room
Desk
427
427, and he pushed buttons on a
Orders
keyboard.
came to him through a monitoring desk, telling him what buttons to push,
How long to push it, and what
This
order.
is what employee 427 did
Every day of every month of it.
And although others might have considered it soul sin, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in. Though he had been made exactly for this,
Exactly for his job.
Stanley was happy.
Was happy. Until
And
one
then
day.
one day, something very peculiar happened.
Something
Something that would forever change Stanley.
changed Stanley.
Something he would never quite forget.
I forget.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked,
I sneezed and
frozen
coughed at the
solid,
same time.
Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Sure. No.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly.
There we go.
The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Fun. Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket.
Bucket. Love it. Let's go, bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's go.
This was
there's
not
no
the
this.
way to the meeting room.
No.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was.
All right.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than
Yes.
the meeting room?
Yes, Stanley thought to
Yes.
himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
More mugs! Woo! Alright, we'll stay here forever, bucket.
Truly,
Stay right
being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Yes.
Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home. Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
True. Alright, let's go.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Ooh. I'm gonna follow you now, bucket.
Good.
No, fuck you, bucket!
Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
I love it.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
That's a new line. Because it's a new game. Did I still go out of this window? Is it this window? I don't remember.
Stanley
bucket.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Oh god.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go
I'm gonna
somewhere
follow the
else.
bucket.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Danger everywhere. Let's go, bucket. You see this
stop.
sign?
Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it.
I've no clue
This
what a bucket is.
misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay. Interesting.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough.
Okay.
This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
I love it.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth
No, that's
did you
a
manage to
bucket.
screw it up? Absolutely incredible.
It's a bucket.
Let's
What are you
just move
talking
on
about?
to the next one.
It can carry stuff, can't it? What are you talking about? It is a bucket.
Is this a bucket?
Of course.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Oh, come on. You give me that?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yeah, I need to take a close look. No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Damn.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know
But
that
it
a bucket
is.
is something. And therefore nothing
A
could
bucket
possibly be
is
something.
something
Unless in your twisted
is
mind
to carry.
you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing. Answer me straight, Stanley.
Technically.
Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
It can be a bucket. Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
You carry stuff,
Stanley,
don't
I
you?
can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened?
I love that
Is
clip.
everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single
Yeah.
thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I
Yes.
had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity.
But we
on this
carry
issue,
stuff.
But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't
And
got
a bucket
game.
carries stuff.
So, tell you what. I'll
How
reset
are we not
everything.
buckets?
We'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Alright. Let's go again. That was weird. Alright.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a paint? The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the
Left.
correct way to the meeting room.
I'm
Stanley
gonna
had
follow
felt the
bucket.
calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Actually,
And here
no.
it was.
I'm
Had the
not
bucket
gonna
turned
follow
out to be
bucket.
correct? Was no.
Wait,
Never
no.
mind.
I
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
This one. Okay.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Okay, bucket.
This is the sad
Wouldn't
story
it
of
be
a man
nice?
named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Ah, this looks nice. Hello, bucket.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Go back to work.
I'll try anyway. Stanley? Can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
But it's important to me.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Leave the bucket alone. At least he does something important.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Shiny.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection, that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better
Exactly.
at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much
The
more
glory
than just a regular
bucket.
bucket? Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket. No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley.
No.
I need it.
No.
Give it to me now. Give it.
No.
or I'll-
Go back to work, Stanley. I guess you're right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Let's go, bucket.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again,
Woohoo!
he was home.
Stanley
let's
clasped
go
the
to the
bucket
left.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's follow the narrator. For a little
Still
bit.
no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
I wonder if anything's changed. Let's go, bucket.
Oh, Stanley.
We belong here.
The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion.
I'm trying.
And lifelong friend.
I'm
Hand
trying.
it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this
How
stream
dare
of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your
How
relationship
dare
is
you.
purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never...
Rude.
Go on, Stanley.
Rude.
Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand
How
on the
dare
wide
you.
variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your
I love
journal
this
entries
bucket.
detailing the rich emotional landscape
I
of your
adore
feelings
this
for the
bucket.
bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled.
Yes!
No more debate, no more discussion. Take our hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the
Exactly.
nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, "Ah, it's a bucket." There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
How many more stickers am I going to get? That's it.
You know what?
I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I want to give you back my bucket. Let me give you my bucket. Goodbye.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket.
No.
Someone else's bucket, perhaps.
How could
did I
you?
end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong.
No.
Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the
Their
psychologically
bucket.
grounding presence
Whose
of
bucket?
his bucket.
I don't know.
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance,
Where's
now
my
he heard
bucket?
it calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special
Bucket?
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore
Where's my
his sanity.
bucket?
And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular
That's hilarious.
her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her
I
own
forgot the bucket.
even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Whoa! Sick! That's a sick way of getting to work. Backflipping. Epic.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
What?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. A cargo lift. Yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home where we can go about life together.
I'm sorry, Bucket.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight
Very
upward
specific.
at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by
Up top.
stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm done here with the flag!
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually
how a
paying
joke is.
attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all.
I'm a comedian!
Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threatened our very existence,
Wait, what?
and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Oh, what was that?
Hey,
Secret
goodness,
message.
this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Oh. Let's go back, shall we?
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Let's go back to reality.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud? Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
No.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket
I'm
came
just gonna
to a
keep
set
doing
of
it.
two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm not good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
That'd be fun. So fun. More instructional videos. It's like an ad.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
What are you talking about?
The good old
Let's go.
Just stand.
Let's go, Bucky.
Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I'm just gonna follow the narrator's voice.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
There's always a bathroom.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley.
That's fine.
God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
We got 2 out of 6. Let's go. Okay. Wait. Ooh. Dance with me, Bucket. Well, that's enough of me.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Another miniature Stanley figure. There's, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I wonder if they actually sell those. They probably sold out already, but still. I wonder if they did sell them. Loading, loading, loading.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again.
The bucket said nothing.
What?
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
That's enough for me. Or is it?
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Let's go back up!
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Why won't you understand me, buckets?
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all.
only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
So sad.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Go up again!
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there
What was that?
he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Minecraft door. To stage! Free, 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 free!
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
The Stanley Parable 3. Lol.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak,
No.
to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure. And in that moment, Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm going to leave it here. Until next time. Goodbye.